Have you ever stopped to think about what's shaping your life? Not your habits, not your talents, not even your decisions, but your attention, because what you give your attention to is what becomes your reality. You are not controlled by your past. You are not even fully defined by your actions. You are shaped, moment by moment, by what you notice, by what you focus on, by what you allow to matter. And if someone could control your attention, they could control your world. Imagine that power. The power not just to speak to someone, but to direct the very lens through which they experience everything. That's what magicians know. That's what pickpockets know. That's what advertisers, influencers, manipulators, and yes, even leaders understand. But what if that superpower wasn't just reserved for the clever or the deceptive? What if that power belonged to you all along? Because here's the truth. Someone is already controlling your attention. The only question is it you? You see, every day your focus is under attack, not by one enemy, but by thousands. Notifications, opinions, regrets, fantasies, fears. It's a war for your awareness. And most people, they surrender, quietly, repeatedly, until they wake up one day in a life they didn't choose, shaped by distractions they didn't even notice. But not you. Not anymore. You're here because something in you is ready to reclaim control, to take the wheel back from that voice that keeps telling you to look away, to swipe, to scroll, to doubt, that voice that distracts you from the very moment that could define you. Because you don't rise when everything is calm. You rise when your attention rises, when you stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. And purpose starts with awareness. Inner confidence isn't a shout. It's a quiet knowing. It's not the voice that says, "I've got this," but the presence that says, "I'm here," fully, unapologetically. You want to change your life. Start by changing what you choose to see, because self-awareness isn't just about knowing your flaws. It's about noticing the lies you've told yourself for too long and replacing them with truth. And when you stand in that truth, something powerful happens. You stop seeking validation, and you start commanding attention, not by force, not by manipulation, but by being so rooted in who you are that people can't help but listen. That's real influence. Influence without tricks, without masks, without tactics. Dale Carnegie said, "You can close more deals with a warm smile and genuine interest than with 1,000 clever words." Because people aren't moved by your brilliance. They're moved by your presence. They don't follow confidence. They follow connection. You want people to remember you, make them feel seen. That's how you win people. Not by being interesting, but by being interested. Ask questions. Listen without waiting to talk. Notice what others miss. Because the moment you stop treating people like background noise and start treating them like the main character, that's the moment they start trusting you. And trust is the currency of leadership. But even when you lead with sincerity, even when your intentions are pure, you will be criticized. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. And in those moments, your confidence will be tested, not by the world, but by the voice inside that says, "Maybe they're right." And that's when you must remember criticism is not always the enemy. Sometimes it's a mirror. Sometimes it's noise. And sometimes it's a gift. But no matter what form it takes, your worth is not defined by someone else's lens. You were not born to shrink to fit someone's comfort zone. You were born to stretch, to expand, to evolve. And how do you keep evolving empathy? Empathy is not softness. It's strength. The kind of strength that listens when it's easier to lecture, that pauses when it's easier to react, that opens when it's safer to close. In a world obsessed with proving who's right, empathy is the quiet courage to understand and be changed by someone else's story. Because the deepest kind of fulfillment doesn't come from standing alone. It comes from standing with, from choosing connection over ego, meaning over appearance. That's where purpose lives, not in performance, but in presence. And once you begin to live like that, you begin to speak like that. Not with noise, not with perfection, but with courage. The courage to speak when your voice shakes, to listen when it's hard, to share when you feel vulnerable, to say, "I don't have all the answers, but I'm here, and I care." That's how communication becomes destiny. Not through perfect words, but through aligned energy. Because when your words match your heart, they don't just pass through ears. They land in people. They root. They grow. And what you plant in others grows in you. So start planting appreciation. Replace the habit of criticism with the habit of noticing what's good. Because anyone can point out a flaw, but it takes vision to see someone's potential before they do. It takes leadership to say, I see more in you, and I'll stand beside you until you see it too. And that kind of leadership is born in humility, not the kind that hides, but the kind that serves. The quiet strength of the person who doesn't need the spotlight to make an impact. The one who lifts others up without needing credit. The one who leads not because they crave power, but because they care. And the ones who care last because they build resilience, not just in themselves, but in everyone they touch. They understand that people are not problems to be solved. They are stories to be heard. And when you understand someone's story, you stop trying to fix them. You start walking with them. That's how you lead. That's how you love. That's how you live. And if you're still wondering where to begin, begin with attention. Reclaim it. Focus it. Use it like the superpower it is. Because whatever has your attention has your future. Give it to what matters. Give it to people. Give it to now. Because right now, in this very moment, your life is being shaped, not by what you've done, not by what you've lost, but by what you choose to focus on next. And the world is watching to see what you'll do with that.